One thing that I realized from this journey is the relationships that are the most genuine, where the people really care about you, typically those relationships can sustain growth. They can sustain change, right? Welcome back to Bold Clarity, where we slow the noise, tell the truth, and make space for the people that we're becoming. Today, I am so excited to talk about a very hot topic that really just has such a huge impact on your growth journey, which is relationships. And just to be clear, I'm not referring to romantic relationships. More so just who are the people that you are interacting with, that you're influencing, and that are influencing you. So this is something that when you think about your growth journey, we spent some time talking on the first episode around how it's a personal journey, right? And you are going to take ownership and ultimately be the driving force behind where you end up and how you get there. And a big contributor to this journey is the people that are on the journey or around you while you're going on this journey. And so the same level of intentionality that you're going to have with yourself, you want to have that with the people who are around you. And so I think the first thing that you should do is take time just to kind of survey your current relationships. And I think there's two parts to that. One, how are you showing up to that relationship? And two, how is the other person or the other people, how are they showing up to that relationship? That first component of you surveying yourself, I think, is a great way for you to kind of look in the mirror, essentially, and figure out when I am talking to people who I say I am close with, or who I say I am friends with, or who I work with, is the person that I'm showing up as in those relationships, is that the same person that I say that I want to be? So that's the first thing that you want to figure out and acknowledge if there is any misalignment in that area. And then the second piece of looking at how are people showing up to the relationships that you're engaging in, I think that can clue you into what are you attracting, and are the things that you're saying are really important to you? Is that really coming across to the people that are around you? This first step can be hard. It's not something that you're expected to do overnight and just go write this huge list of all your relationships and all the ins and outs. It is a process, and the intention is that you gain some clarity around how your relationships are functioning. I think a lot of times when our relationships are chaotic, typically that's going to be directly in alignment with your life being chaotic. Are you feeling chaotic? No matter what stage of life you're in, I encourage everyone to take that first step to look to the relationships that you currently have and just figure out how they're functioning. Are they healthy? Are they aligned to who you want to be? Is somebody or a particular relationship having influence over you in a way that you don't? Are you influencing other people in a way that you don't? Just so that you can kind of understand where you are, right? And in this, I think we can become shocked by just how much influence lies in our relationships, and just how much of an impact that has on your mindset and your values. And so with that awareness of your current relationships, then you want to make some decisions. And I do want to be really clear. This does not mean that you should go and just cut everyone off who, doesn't have the exact same values as you, or that you should stop showing up to, your family reunions. This is, where should I spend my energy? And your energy, right? That's expensive. That is very valuable. And you just want to make sure that you are giving that energy to the relationships where you're going to get some sort of return. You're going to be going down this path that you have decided is important for you. And so as you think about the relationships that you have and the relationships that you want to have, again, it's not necessarily about ending a relationship. Maybe you change the nature of your relationship. I remember gosh, I think I must have been in college, or maybe it was the end of high school. And I remember someone telling me, not all of your friends are going to be your friends for everything. And I was like, what does that mean? What they were trying to get me to understand is the friend who you do book club with may not be the friend that you go to the gym with. The friend that you go to the gym with may not be the friend that you call when you're having a parental crisis, right? The message in all of that is that some people and some relationships serve a very specific purpose, and sometimes we try to assign meaning to a relationship that's not there. So instead of putting this pressure that, okay, if you're my friend, that means you have to check all of these boxes. If you're my coworker, if you're someone who I talk to, every single thing has to line up. That's not necessarily true. And you will find people where you're aligned on a lot of things, and yet the intention is on the things that matter the most. Do you have some alignment, and is there some path for you to grow and for this relationship to bring newness and encourage you to move forward in a way that you know is what you want to do? I know even just for me personally, over this last, year and a half of going on this journey of just really figuring out who I am and the type of person I want to be, and really stepping into that has 100% impacted some of my relationships. And it's so interesting because one thing that I realized from this journey is the relationships that are the most genuine, where the people really care about you, typically those relationships can sustain growth. They can sustain change, right? When I told my friends, like, hey, I'm gonna go on this journey and I think I'm gonna start a podcast, most of them, the ones that are my genuine friends, were super excited. And when I said, hey, I can't come to the happy hour that we usually go to because I'm focused on this, they were like, hey, okay, great. I know you're working on something, and because I value you and I know this is important to you, I'm gonna support you in that. Versus some people who maybe they don't take that so well, and maybe your relationship has been based on what you can do for that person, not who you are. And I'll be honest, some of that has been exposed in my journey. And for those people where maybe I uncovered that our relationship wasn't as genuine or as deep as I thought, I don't hate them. We don't have any bad blood, right? I just know, okay, this is kind of the compartment that this relationship can stay in. And so I know how much energy I should put into that relationship. I know when I should put energy into that relationship. And I know if I'm looking to be energized on a really deep personal level, I know who to go to and I know who not to go to. And I think sometimes we think that when relationships change, that it's a bad thing, right? I actually think that my relationships changing during this process has been a huge motivator for me to keep going, because just like I figured out some of the people who maybe we didn't have the deep connection that I thought, I also figured out in some honestly unlikely places the people who genuinely supported me. And so when I think about the energy I give, I'm gonna make sure I'm spending the most time with those people. I'm gonna make sure that, when I'm having a rough time and I'm tired, I'm exhausted, and I just wanna give up, I'm not gonna call the friend or the person who simply cares about what I can do for them, right? I'm going to talk to the people who are aligned specifically to the value of personal growth, because I know that they're going to encourage me and give me direction and give me advice that's going to continue me on this path that I want to go on. It's been really exciting also because I think some of those relationships have deepened, and like I said, unlikely places. And that's one thing I want to touch on really quickly. If you look and your friend circle, or not even just friend, right? Professional circle is based in comfort or based in a version of you that is no longer in existence, that's typically an indicator that you might need to look elsewhere for some of the things that you need. For example, I don't really have any friends that, do podcast and who know all the ins and outs of what goes into the preparation and all of that. And so in this journey, knowing that this is something that I wanted to do, I looked outside of my immediate comfort zone to identify people that were doing the things like podcast that I wanted to do, because I knew they were in a position where I wanted to put myself in one day. Although it was uncomfortable because realistically, I'm building new relationships with new people, it also was necessary for me to become a different version of myself and step into something that is ultimately important to me, which is having a space and providing a space for people to have these types of conversations. And so looking back, I know that there have been times in the past where I've wanted to do something and I think, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Then I'll go to my comfort circle, right? And I already know what they're gonna tell me. I already know that if I wake up one day and I'm like, you know what, I'd rather just sleep in, I already know that they're gonna say, okay, just do it. Well, finding new people and kind of starting from scratch, that was difficult. It was very hard to build trust. There's a lot of vulnerability that's involved in that. Sometimes you think somebody is the person that you need to build the relationship with, and maybe they're not. It's so worth it though, because at the end of the day, you will find people who are aligned to who you want to be. You will find people that have skills in the areas that you lack, but the areas that you want to grow in. And being okay with extending beyond your comfort is a necessary part of this process. Otherwise, you're going to stay just in your comfort zone, which is a totally human thing to do, right? We like safety, we like predictability, but growth is not about predictability. It's not about doing the same things. It's not about playing it safe. And starting with your relationships is a really good way for you to extend yourself and decide, who do I want around me as I go on this journey? Who is where I want to be? Who is going to encourage me? Who's going to distract me? Who's going to tell me, I don't think it's worth it? You need to know those things. You really do. And I thought today specifically about some of my friendships, and I had a busy day and I was running around doing a bunch of things for clients and for the team. And I was like, I'm recording this podcast today. And I woke up and I thought, I don't know. I'm a little nasally. I don't know if I want to do it. And there are friends that if I would have called them, they would have said, Asia, just do it another day. Don't worry about it, right? And there are people who said, Asia, I'm going to hold you accountable like you asked. I know that this is something that's important to you. Get a medicine ball from Starbucks and record. I would not be able to grow if I did not have that voice, if I did not have that encouragement, if I didn't have somebody who was willing to risk, me being upset or me pushing back for the purpose of my betterment. I would just sit in my comfort because it's nice there. I like it there. I know what's going on. You need people, okay? You need people. You need to know what kind of people you need, and you get the opportunity to take ownership of finding those people and then nurturing those relationships so well so that you know that you've got your people that you're locked in with and that are going to keep you going and give you everything that you need, all the reminders of, hey, you said you want to do this thing, like, come on, let's go. Let's do it. If you don't have those people, if you look around right now and you think, I have people I love, I have people I care about, I don't know if I have people that are where I want to be, start today and find those people. You can do it on social media. You can do it at work. You could do it at a coffee shop. If you see somebody that's doing something that you want to do and you don't know how to get there, go up there and ask. Ask for their support. Ask for their story, ask for their challenges, and you will find that most people are going to be willing to take the time to help you and get you exactly where you need to be. So, with that said, this is a huge reason of of why I created Bold Clarity is because I believe that every single person deserves to have a space where they can grow. I don't think that this is something that should be gatekept. I don't think it's something that, is supposed to be a privilege. I think everybody deserves the opportunity to get better and to be around people that are going to help you do that. And so as we continue to have these conversations and you follow along on the website and, with some of the guides, the intention is that this can be one of those spaces for you, that you can come and you can say, I want to grow, I need a community, and you have what you need. So my call to action for everyone listening in is to leave a comment, and I would love for you to share something that you've decided as a result of listening to this podcast that you want to grow in, so that you are putting yourself out there to attract the people who are going to support you on your growth journey. Thank you guys so much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube at Bold Clarity, and give us a like and a comment.